My boss told the whole truth about my wife. I did not expect this from my wife. I lived with my wife for over 3 years. Immediately after the wedding, we agreed that we would live in her house. We lived well and did not complain about anything. I considered my wife a good person who can be trusted. This was her third wedding in her life and my second. With his first wife, we parted calmly and did not swear. We discussed everything well and calmly made such a decision. Now I know that my ex-wife has a new husband, children, and she is happy. I'm happy for her. I have a new boss at my job. The new boss started firing some employees he didn't like. He didn't fire me. We found a common language with the director and communicated well. He told me that he was once betrayed by people whom he had trusted all his life. He said that if we continue to work well like this, he will promote me and make me his deputy. But everyone who communicated well with him, he still punished for various problems. He liked to play billiards. It so happened that after work we played billiards with him. We drank strong drinks and were already like friends. My wife never asked how things were at my work. All she cared about was how much I made, to bring money home and give her a lot of attention. My boss told me about his ex-wife, how they got divorced. Now he is without a wife, but he has a girlfriend. When I asked the boss why he divorced his ex-wife, he immediately started a conversation on a different topic. I began to notice that it was unpleasant for him to talk about this topic. After that, I stopped asking him questions about his ex-wife. Why don't you talk about your wife? The boss asked me. I replied that all my family data is in his folder. He said that he was not interested in these documents, but was only interested in how well I were. Do you have children? The boss asked. I said that there are no children. We did not even plan to have them with my wife. He asked me to show at least a photo of my wife. He was interested. I took out my phone and found a photo of my wife. When he looked at the photo, he immediately got angry and ordered to leave the office. I did not understand his reaction and left the office. We were silent for the rest of the working day. 3 days passed and we only talked about work. The next day he called me to his office. I came and he began to apologize for yelling at me then. He said that he was stressed and that's why he acted like that. I accepted his apology. My son's birthday is tomorrow. Would you like to come? The boss asked me. I agreed but asked him to take my wife with him. He strictly said no. I began to ask why it was impossible to invite my wife to my birthday, but he did not answer and sent me to work. I didn't understand why he was so against my wife. Does he know her? He told me to come without my wife. Then I decided to ask directly, come on, tell me, how do you know my wife? I asked angrily, not now. Come to your son's birthday and I'll tell you everything, he said. I asked him to tell right now. It doesn't matter who the wife was in the past. What matters is who she is now. But the chief went into denial and did not tell me anything. After this conversation, my working day came to an end. I went home and my wife met me. I wanted to talk to her about what she was hiding from me, but then I decided that it would be better if I wait for the boss's son's birthday and he will tell everything himself. All these days I have been walking with great impatience. That day has come. My boss's sister came for me. We met her and went shopping for groceries for her birthday. We bought the necessary products and went to the house. We sat down at the table and began to eat. He has a good house. Big, rich, I thought. The chief's sister was sitting next to me all this time. I even noticed that we like each other. She took care of me. When my plate was empty, she gave me food. When the music began to play and everyone went to dance, I asked the boss to come out to talk. Well, you promised me that you would tell me everything about my wife, I asked him. He said the time had not yet come. Several hours passed and he asked me to come to him. I went to him. His sister was standing next to him. He saw that I came in and started opening my safe with documents. He took out some folder with documents and started looking for something. The fact is that my wife is the ex-wife of my boss. Probably you already guessed about it during my story. His son is the common son of the boss and my wife. At first I did not believe his words, but he took out a family photo, which was my wife, boss, and their common son. He began to tell his past. He used to have a business and over time it closed due to losses. He tried to open a new one, but he had no money. Banks refused to lend him money. Then he asked the local bandits for money. They gave him money, but then they overcharged a large percentage. He did not have so much money to return them, and he was ambushed near the house. The bandits warmed him up so well after that. He was admitted to the hospital. He has been in a wheelchair for over a year during this time. His wife took a lover and spent time with him. She didn't care about her disabled husband. After the boss found out about this, the wife finally went to her lover, but the lover did not like that his wife had children, and he wanted to have his own. During all this time, the wife was never interested in how he was doing. After his story, I asked for something strong to drink. I drank quite a lot and thought about my wife for a long time. I didn't believe she was capable of that. How could you leave your disabled husband? How can you leave your child and stop communicating with him? I just couldn't believe what my wife was capable of. I went home and decided to take all my things. After all, after what I found out about my wife, I can't be with her. The chief said that I could stay with him until I found a place to live. I agreed. I asked the boss to come with me to my wife to pick up my things. At first he refused and did not want to go there, but I began to persuade him. I also asked his sister to come with us, but she refused. After several attempts to persuade the boss, he still agreed. We went to my house. I went home first. My wife immediately started yelling at me. "Where have you been? Why didn't you pick up the phone? Why should I be nervous?" the wife screamed. After that, my boss came in. "Well, hello, ex-wife," he said. The wife was in a stupor. She couldn't say a single word. I went into the room and began to collect things. I didn't take everything. I took only the most basic documents and my old laptop. She began to get angry. I left my ex-husband because he did not suit me. "I didn't do anything wrong," she said. I stopped listening to her and just walked towards the exit. She tried to stop me, but nothing worked. "Why do you trust your boss? See, he's smiling. He specifically wants us to divorce you," the wife screamed. The chief stood silently and smiled. It was funny for him to hear what his ex-wife was saying. After a long silence, he told her not to approach their common child and not even try to get in touch with him. "Have you taken all your things?" the boss asked me. I replied that I took the most necessary and let the rest remain for my wife. I took my wedding ring off my finger and put it on the kitchen table. More than 3 months have passed, and since then my wife and I have not communicated. I began to spend more time with the boss's sister, and gradually our friendship turned into love. Things went to the wedding. I am so grateful to my boss for opening my eyes. After all, I lived with a monster who left her disabled husband and her child. This is how you live with your wife, and you don't even know her past. Did I do the right thing with my ex-wife? She didn't cheat on me. She didn't do anything wrong. But with a past like that, I can't live with her anymore. What would you do in my place? Write your opinion in the comments. It will be interesting to read your opinion on this matter.